Quiet.
Fighting soldiers from the sky, fearless men who jump and die, men who do just what they say, the brave men of the Green Beret, silver wings.
Welcome to the United Constitutional Patriots radio show with your hosts, Johnny and Chuck. Tonight, Chuck will be doing the whole show. Johnny couldn't make it today, so I will turn over to Chuck now. Chuck, go ahead and take over the show. Chuck?
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a edition of Constitutional Patriot. I'm noticed that the voice that you're hearing at the moment is not the deep baritone voice you're used to hearing from Commander Johnny. Our national commander could not be with us tonight. He's off tending to other duties. So I will be your host this evening. My name is Chuck. I am a brigadier general with the United Constitutional Patriots, the head of intelligence nationwide for that organization, and I am a chaplain with that organization, and I will be your host this evening. And we do have a couple of on with us tonight. Michael, who will be discussing, among other things, a work that he's currently working on setting up for the United Constitutional Patriots. And we also have Matt, who's going to be talking about the mission that having with Antifa. He's going to go into detail on that. And we'll have our friend Greg introduce Michael, and we'll have Girl introduce Matt at the appropriate time. To start off with, so from the last days, bring you up to date on that. Now we'll start with discuss a couple of stories that we have going on right now. So we'll start with the Qs, and we'll start with Q 1841. 1841, a graphic. It's called The Illusion of Choice. See, what it talks about is five major companies, or five major corporations, over 90% major news media in this country. They control pretty much 90% of the flow of news and information. And those companies are GE, which would be General Electric, News Corp, Disney, Viacom, Time Warner, Q says fake news consolidation of the Democratic Party, define antitrust laws. It has a link to the Federal Trade Commission.gov website and its competition guidance and guide to the antitrust laws. Act outlaws every contract, combination, or conspiracy in restraint of trade, monopolization, or conspiracy to or combination to monopolize. There's another link to that same advice competition guidance on antitrust laws. It says FTC's Federal Trade Commission's competition is to enforce the rules of the competitive marketplace and antitrust laws. These laws promote vigorous competition. Excuse me, consumers and from anti-competitive mergers and business practices. Reconcile, Google, Facebook, Twitter, and then in the kill box we have change we can believe in. Q. All right, 1842. Q says these people are stupid. He linked to a let's see, processserver.com, and it says never interfere with an enemy when he's in the process of destroying himself. And then there's an article on from thehill.com. It says WikiLeaks says Senate panel requested Assange testimony in the Russia probe. So this committee has requested that Julian Assange come in before the committee. Now, when he does that, when Julian Assange does that, that's going to give him the opportunity right there prove that it was not Russia that was his source, but it was okay. Even coincidences we have the source. Now he says we have the source. Does that mean they have Seth Rich? I'll leave that one up to if you will. Okay, 1843. He says, okay, it's a twitter.com status. Bill Maher, okay, the Bill Maher show. And this was rather stupid, but he posted and said, he's pretending. It says, IQ needs your help to make America great again. Keep posting your memes. Keep believing everything Trump tells you. And above all, on Tuesday, November the 6th, Election Day, stay at home. That's Bill the Idiot Mars. Okay. And Q says, do you remember their names? We do. You're still safe, protected. Now he's talking to people like Bill Maher, okay, who has said stupid, asinine, whatever words you want to use, things against the president, okay, and what have you. All right. Posted Q 1841, which was on the news media. Adds to that a Wikipedia Telecommunications Act of 1996, and it says, okay, at the stage, Bill Clinton set the stage. That's in the kill box, and then plan in the kill box. A new Telecommunications Act. My take on what Q is trying to tell us here is they are about to use laws and possibly a new Telecommunications Act, mainstream news media for all of their lying. Things then got interesting. Q 1845 photograph of an aircraft. It's a Q-400 Bombardier is what it's called. and it says, honest, think missile. Do you believe in coincidences? Q. Okay. Now, a couple of days ago, there was an aircraft at the Seattle airport, Washington, Seattle, Washington, that was stolen by someone that the news media is claiming baggage claim agent who has no has no license, okay, had no pilot training or anything like that, but this man supposedly stole this aircraft, took it on a joyride, flew maneuvers that basically only a highly trained pilot would have been able to fly. Two F-15 jets on his tail. Okay. And Q says, think missile, do you believe in coincidences? All right. Well, in Q6, it's the same photo, that same Q post. He says, he includes a link to a New York Times article on that plane crash. And then he says, boom, 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 boom. Okay, now the last time, says, do you believe in coincidences? Okay. The last time we had boom, 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 boom in a Q post was when the president flew to Singapore to meet with Kim. Oh, basically, that there were two missiles. One was fired in the direction of where that meeting was taking place, taken down. It was stopped, and a second one was fired at as it flew back across the Pacific Ocean, and they flew the president back by another route. Both of those missiles were taken down by F-15. It's equipped with special weapon system. Now that is all I can tell you that much. But that's what happened the last time we had boom, 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 boom. Q saying boom, 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 boom next week. Okay. I believe, and we're going to go through some more Qs here that'll give us some more on that. But I believe what they're preparing to do, something of that same nature is going to happen this week, sometime during this week. And it too is going to be thwarted. But listen to the next Q. 1947, he says this. He says, event, public release of incriminating acts that would forever strip their power away. Folks, that's what's fixing to happen. It's all about to come out. They're going to declassify the FISA memo and some, the other stuff that we've been wanting them to classify. It's going to be declassified. It's going to be released. And Q says, how do you prevent the public release? Acts that would forever strip their power. Do you bind the hands of, then it says two-pronged situ. Now, situation or situ, that is either is in place, okay, it means situation. Oh, test the strength of the midterms through private analysis, win-loss ratio. Now, they've already done that. They've already the midterms through private analysis, and they know they're going to lose. Analysis below key metric. Transfer start a war against who? Now think about this. Very, very important. The sharing of very important. Well, the president went to Singapore, Helsinki, Finland when he met with Vladimir Putin. There is no doubt now that information over by both of those men to the president. So, again, as I just read, 1440 or 1845 and 1846, and this one, 1847, it appears that what they're going to try to do is they're going to try the same thing that they tried when the president went to Singapore. Now, Q 1848, Q simply says Iron Eagle. Now, there is no Air Force fighter at the moment that's called Iron Eagle. The F-15s are referred to as fighters, but there's no Iron Eagle fighter. Where Iron Eagle comes from is the movie, which was about a young pilot who launched a rescue mission. I guess it was his father or was shot in lines, and he went in to rescue him. That's what Iron Eagle is about. What Q is telling us is yes, there's going to be another attempt by the deep state to try to start a war or to try to do something to distract from what's about to be made public. The rescue mission is in place and it's going to be stopped. Okay? Then we have Q 1849. Welcome to the swamp. EX1 Google. Okay, that's that EX1 is Google's NASDAQ nation. That's its designation on the NASDAQ, on the stock market. Okay, State Department. Hillary Rodham Clinton, Lisa Shields, a link to the page that contains the list of the board of directors for the relations. There's a link to a Politico.com article to head Google's DC office. Now, Molinari, I can't remember her first name right off the top of my head, but she has been part of the Council on Foreign Relations and other things that she's been involved in. Okay, Bill Paxton, Gump, Strauss, Hauer, and Field LLP. Bill Paxton just joined that law firm. Okay. There's a link to a wikipedia.org on that particular law firm. Link to a businessinsider.com article, and John Dow says Mueller is terrific. Lorenza, and there's a CNN.com article on her. Special counsel reveal witness on Manafort, so she's got some involvement in that. Q. All right. T. Okay. Link to a Fox News article. West Virginia lawmakers move to impeach their entire Supreme Court. Okay, they are moving to impeach their entire state criminal activities. Hugh says normal, all right, not updated. Says a number of people in the Senate not seeking re-election, like Bob Corker, Jeff Flake, Orrin Hatch, and No Name, which is okay. Then a lengthy representatives that are not seeking re-election. All right. Then list of those who have resigned from the House of Representatives, and one Javier Becerra, who Democrat Attorney General of California, who just also resigned. And Q says normal. Okay. All right. Okay, now Q 1851. Well, okay. There's Bill Maher, Real Time with Bill Maher. Yeah, a series uh, memes with Bill Maher in it. Sometimes the truth is right in front of you. Breitbart article and let's see photos surface of Guardians gun at okay, at themed party. Okay, yeah. This is the name of James Gunn, who's the director of a movie, something of the Guardians or whatever. He was at a pedophile party. Says these people are sick. He's a known pedophile. These people are sick. You people are a disease. We the Q. Okay. Q 1852. And there's a Twitter from Bill Maher. This Bill Maher character is a real jerk. And he posts and says, "Oh my God, what did Michelle Blair? I thought I stumbled on an ad for Rise of the Planet of the Apes." And it shows, another Bill Maher Twitter thing where it shows Michelle Bachman had just got her hair trimmed, and then shows a couple pictures of a character from Planet of the Apes. Well, if you'll recall, a while back, and Barr did the same thing with Valerie Jarrett, Thomas henchman or henchwoman, as the case may be, said the exact same thing. Joe, she's been routinely attacked for it by the liver. Here's Bill Maher doing the exact same thing. Conservative Michelle Bachman with it. And Q says, Zahn says, ha ha ha. That's why I added 3 in here. The hypocrisy is unreal. And Q, another Bill Maher status. All right. 18, where are we at? 1853. Okay. It's another, this is NBC News. This is a Twitter status from NBC News. This particular Twitter status is an article put out by NBC News on old tweets. Stuff that could be, shouldn't have tweeted, that could be very damaging to them. So now they're control and telling people to go back. Okay. And Q says, "Do you believe in coincidences? Truth to power." Q. Okay. And in 1854, speaking of Twitter, in this case, we talked about James Gunn, who is a known pedophile, Hollywood director. Q a number of his Twitter posts as they're filthy, and then Q says the choice to know because on the body and all and all the Satanism and all this other stuff is going to come out, and Q's just telling you, will be yours. Twitter status, and what was that? Oh yeah, he has another from a Twitter account. Believe it or not, is Satan. So somebody actually started for Satan. And this particular Twitter post says, you're all familiar, I'm sure, with Pizzagate. Post says, someone sacrificed a pizza or something. I'm getting bored of goats. Well, the goats obviously is the to Muslims. Okay. And let's see, 1855. Okay. Be back. Crew's going to be back. Q is going to be back to talking about the news media again. And linked to a Twitter status from the president. And President Trump said, seems like the Department of Justice and the FBI had a program to Donald Trump from becoming president. Now, that was Obama's Justice Department and FBI, by the way. Okay, at Darylist, at Fox and Friends. But to the other side, everybody involved would be in jail. This is a media cover-up. Biggest story of our time. Another Twitter status, and this is from Maria Bartiromo. She's a news lady. She says Nunez on Bruce Orr and the push by DOJ documents. So they're working on getting these those documents all declassified so they can be released. That's what's fixing the. And Q is posting on that in this. And then he says, right under that, he says, once again, he says, boom, boom. So we got 4 more booms. Then he says, why did NBC presidential conference refuse to fill the new tweet? Has Media Matters been hired to locate and identify sensitive tweets from known characters? The more you know, Q. Okay. Then 6. Who? 1856. Q says these people are stupid. There's a link to a CNN.com. John Kelly, Omarosa, tape, Meet the Press, RS, BPX.C video playlist. Okay. Okay. Integrity violations. Integrity violations equal leak. Start recording a privileged and confidential meeting with the White House Chief of Staff. Omarosa illegally, secretly taped a confidential meeting between the president and his chief of staff. What documents? And by the way, they broadcast violation of the law on the news. That's why they're going back and getting rid of the tweets and doing this. They're playing damage control now. All right, record. Okay, where was I? What documents are signed? White House. What documents were added by POTUS specifically prior to allowing staff to join his administration? Documents were added later by POTUS targeting leaks. Was fake news infuriated about this, and he gives a list of links to news articles where they were absolutely infuriated about that. Why would a person openly broadcast? They openly broadcast this, folks. Do they feel protected? Who do they report to? Known in advance, could this be an advantage? These people are stupid. Enjoy the show. Q. In 1857, an Anon post and says, Q, you made the grade. Great story. Positive. Okay. And then there's a Gateway Pundit. Okay. There's a Gateway Pundit article that was actually positive with regards to Q. Ascending legacy, media spotlight propels QAnon movement. and ballast. Q. All right. Now then, Q1858, and a non-post, and it's a Twitter from a Teresa Sirkai, or however you pronounce her name. Real now, this is serious business here, folks. At real Donald Trump understands he's being removed from that office one way or the other. If the law fails America, we will remove him with our bare hands. That's a threat. He has only 1/5 of America's support, which is BS. They are mostly cowardly, out of shape, poor, uneducated. Well, that offends me because I happen to be a redneck preacher. Anyway, I don't know about, and the nonsense, I don't know about y'all. Not poor, highly educated in the country. I'm not, I am in the country. I'm not a redneck, and most definitely not a coward. I'm not going to say the word, threatening to remove the president with their bare hands. Q says, you are the majority, by far, and growing. Fake news purpose is to project false narratives. Okay. Q 1859. An anonymous post again. It's another Twitter from the Satan account, and it's got Satan saying, I miss you, son, at real Donald Trump. A joke, somebody's idea of a joke. And Q says, this Twitter account for a very specific reason. Questionable messages, people of power and influence. So there's messages on that account from people of power and influence. These accounts are run Q. Okay, and these people are stupid. 1960. We're closing in, folks. 60. Yeah, has another. Okay, these are some Q again posts some Twitter posts by somebody by the name of Wilson. I think this person must be a witch, because one of them says, "What about baby meat?" And then there's another one that says, "Beautiful day ritual sacrification or sacrifice of a virgin." So that's just some of the stuff that this person is posting. Q lists a Reddit .com post on the great board. Says, unbelievable. I was reading a tweet from Jordan. Let's see what it says, folks. Here it says, I was reading a tweet from Jordan Sather and saw this posted from a response. I looked up Rainn Wilson and found he and Wise Foundation in Haiti for disadvantaged girls. No more coincidences, are there? Okay, and that's what I just told you was posted about human baby meat and virgin. Okay, so Q included that. Is this normal? And then another Twitter status. This one is from NBC News. That's the one on how to delete old tweets. Okay. And then he says, the more you know, Q. Okay. 1861, he repeats that particular Q and then also adds a photograph of a temple that sits on top of a hill on Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile island. Once again says, he once again asks, normal? All right. Okay, now, Q 1862 is going to be, and what I'm going to report on it's going to be somewhat of interest to one of our guests tonight, and he'll know who he is. It starts off with two images. One is an image the ant the of Antifa's uh, logo, red flag on it, and the anti-fascist action one is another logo from an organization called Anti-Fasciste. If you were watching the demonstration in Washington, D.C. yesterday, you heard them chanting that. Anti-Fasciste Action, anti-fascist action, is the logo of the 1933 paramilitary wing of the Communist Party. Antifa is the 2017 paramilitary wing of the of America. And Q posts this. He says this. He says fake news equal enemy of the people. Actions of the echo chamber, MSM, state the same thing, even if fiction or false. Do most people consider it true or factual? Oh, direct communication is critical. It's the fake news. Antifa allowed violence, make threats, use and carry weapons, and physically harm others who oppose their ideology. Attempt to justify such violence by labeling the challenger as alt-right. Why doesn't the left condone such acts of violence and call for an immediate end? Define projection, define insurance policy, define warning against attempts to unveil. They prey on the emotionally unstable, helpless individuals and use them as pawns. Fox News, link to a Fox News article that says probe Antifa ideology, details House panel. Okay, what's going on right now is that right now, at this moment, Antifa has stepped in it. We've been waiting for them to take that one step too far. Yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, what they did was during that mess that was going on in Washington, D.C., they actually threatened to murder the president and the vice president of the United States. Now, officially, by both the FBI and the Secret Service. Okay? What no? When will he release to the public? Does such violence, extremism justify National Guard deployment in the future ahead of planned public releases? Now, signed the National Defense Authorization Act today, believe that there may be something in that authorization that gives him the authorization to go ahead and deploy in these events. So they are making some moves to deal with Antifa. Then there's a link to a Breitbart article. Antifa terrorists freaking out over proposed unmasking law. There is a law, or either being voted on, or it's being passed, or I don't know. That law would ban wearing masks at demonstrations. Freaking out over that. Then there is a link to a petition, petition.whitehouse.gov. Petition is to formally recognize Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. Okay? It's military spending bill. Military spending bill, that's the National Defense Authorization Act. that Q is mentioning that because there's something in it, and some authorization to get some stuff done with regards to Antifa, and then Q says, "Smile for the camera," indicating mugshots. Folks, some of these people are going to be arrested. Okay, okay. In Q 1863, and we're almost there. Q 1863, Q repeats that image from Bill Maher of what he said about Michelle Bachmann, and then Q says, at Sean Hannity, at Fox News, and do not let this hypocrisy stand. Much more coming, Q. Okay, and then the last Q of the day so far, Q4, and it is a link to an article from SarahCarter.com, and it says 2016 Trump Tower meeting looks increasingly by Russian and Clinton operatives. So the Russians were colluding with the Clintons president. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have evening. So what we're going to do now, I noticed that our commander has rejoined us. Now we have a friend of the United Constitutional Patriots in the room. He does a lot of great work for us, does a lot of good things for us. And his name is Greg, and we're going to have him come on here in a few minutes, and because we're going to have him, Michael, our first guest on, and he's going to tell you what Michael's going to be talking about. So, Greg, if you would like to introduce Michael for us, go ahead.
Okay, it's very timely. We're very lucky because it's almost like Q has prophesized our next guest. Excuse me, a little hoarse today. Anyway, yeah, he kind of prophesizes our next guest here because he says we need direct communication, and that's what Michael is. He's the platform. If we can get Johnny on Michael's board, that we can basically build out to where we have a constitutional platform where, comments can turn into letters to Congress and petitions and reach our entire audience. And Q and the president both have outlined exactly why, because all these services have been corrupted, the media has been corrupted, and we've been targeted. So basically, Michael is the solution, and he's not one of the black hats. He's a white hat. So basically, we need three things. We need the audience out there. We need the people. And we need, the United Constitutional Patriots, and we need the new platform. So he's the third piece of the puzzle here. And this is Michael. And go ahead, take it, Michael, and you can tell them all about it.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Greg. You're very generous and very gracious in your introduction. I am not the solution, but what I am presenting and what we are going to build is the solution. I can't, as you know, I can't emphasize that enough. For the past about 10 years, I've been beating the same drum, and this is a thing that has developed in my consciousness and in my view of our situation in the world over the past 40 or 50 years. But it's an amazing thing for me at 63 years old to be looking at what has taken place in our country, as I'm sure it's true for all of my generation, all of y'all that are gathered here, watching what has taken place in America. And most of us could agree on the statement that we are shocked and amazed to see the place that our country has arrived at. My dad, who was a decorated World War II veteran for heroism, died in 91, and I am in some ways grateful that he passed then, because uh, although he predicted much of what we see taking place, I know that it would have been an absolute crushing thing for him to see the place that our country has come to. But there's two ways to look at this. You know, we can look at it from the point of view of how dark and desperate things have become, or we can look at it from the point of view of what the opportunity it presents for us to rise up and do a thing that will be great and significant in our history, and we will be looked back at as those who stood up and fought against the tide and against the people who just simply couldn't see the answers, and will be remembered as those who resisted the mainstream and fought to see America preserved. The effort that I'm engaged in is an organization called Americans United Against Tyranny, and the objective of that organization is to build an American Patriot Union. I won't have time in this radio interview to give a full description of what the Patriot Union can be and will be. But I want you to think simply about what unions are, what unions do, in the way that they aggregate people, the way they pull people together based on a common purpose, and then put their collective strength to work to fight for the things that are good for that body. The Patriot Union, of course, is not intended to be about anything other than saving our country and seeing that a constitutional America is really finally realized, because those of us who know the Constitution and understand the vision of the framers recognize that the vision that they had for America was never fully realized. The ideal of a government by the people is one that broke the tradition of history in the ideal that it would present a government where the people would govern themselves and they would be the directors of their own destinies, as opposed to people sitting on a throne or leaders who imagine themselves to be superior. And that smacks of some real reality given our current paradigm. But we saw in 2016 a thing that shocked the organized left, and that really broke a process, a path that America was going down, ultimately that would end up in our slavery. The agenda that the organized left has been affecting for the past 40 or 50 years to take control of our news media, to take control of our schools, to take control of all of our main institutions, and to begin a constant narrative and diatribe that is intended to break down the moral will of the American people, that is intended to break down the family, that is intended to destroy all of the fabric that is really the support system for America and its survival. And what we saw in 2016 was that despite the control system put in place by the left, that the American people, American patriot community came together through social networking. We shared information. We defied the narrative of the Marxist left that is being promoted through our mainstream news media. And we did a thing that caused them the day after the election to be standing with their jaws dropped and trying to figure out how it was that all their plans were shattered and Hillary Clinton lost the election. And this event shows the strength of the power of people, good people, righteous people, patriots who've come together, sick and tired of the evil that exists and the status quo of our government, seeing clearly that agencies and agents are working at the effort to to destroy this country, to destroy all of our institutions, to take control of the minds of our children, and to forward a future for America that is filled with tyranny. We saw the American people come together and demonstrate that collective power and collective will and collective knowledge is able to defeat the best efforts of the evil people who are trying to ruin this country. Now, the thing that we've got to look at and understand, and Q is correct in stating that we have to establish a new platform. And what we are proposing that we become in America, the 50, 60 million people who elected Trump organized into a union with a basic set of goals and an agenda that addresses all of the major issues that all of us agree on. And that agenda can be seen on our website at www.auat.org. And it is listed under a link called the Patriot Union Declaration. That declaration lays out effectively the agenda for the Patriot Union. And it is our belief that the items that are listed in that agenda are of such common binding strength that tens of billions of Americans can come together in agreement and work together towards the common goals that come out of that agenda. So what we are building is an organization. That organization, again, is a thing that for me to fully explain would take far longer than what I can relate in this radio show. But the main feature of that organization will be a website that is a social networking website, functions in many ways like Facebook does. But the gigantic distinction between the Patriot Union social networking website and Facebook is that this will be a network that has a purpose, that has a goal, that has objectives. And we will build in tools into that web interface that permit our union members, the people that are using the website, to express their opinions, to share information much in the same way that has been done on Facebook and other social networking sites. But the result of sharing that information, the result of commenting on those posts, the result of the back and forth of communication of patriots with regard to these issues is that it will generate action by virtue of the software that works behind the scenes to gather that collective will and collective voice of the American patriot community and put it to work. Now, I use this example oftentimes to give people a good sort of insight into what I'm talking about. Right now, every day there are issues that come out in the news, and I know that all of us have been sitting on Facebook or looking at a news website and reading an article, and we just immediately want to scream at our politicians, or we want to speak out to the American people and help them to understand that the information that they're being told is wrong, that the perspective that is being presented about us, that we're not racist, that we're not bigots, that we're not this or that. We've all wanted to have the opportunity to make sure that voice, that statement was heard. And we unfortunately don't have any vehicle to do that because, as we all know, that the left controls news media, and we just don't have any opportunity to be heard. Well, the function of a patriot union would be to constantly being in the news, being in the public arena, and making the voices of the tens of millions of patriots like us heard, and constantly reverberating in the public space. We can grow to become such a powerful public institution that there's no opportunity for the left or for the rest of America to ignore us or to be unable to hear us. The control of the news media is a thing that in itself can be fought through collective action. We have the ability, through union effort to go to advertisers and to supporters and bring the collective will of 50 to 60 million Americans to bear on them and help them understand that we're just not going to tolerate, their support of a news media that has been hijacked by organized leftists bent on destroying our country. All of the things that we face in our institutions, all of the challenges that we face as an American patriot community to see our children educated, to see American prosperity restored, to see the very fabric of our culture reoriented to God and principle and virtue and morality. Our ability to become salt and light in a world that is desperate for salt and light is affected through the vision of Patriot Union. And the website will provide powerful tools that make our voices heard. It will provide powerful resources that enable the myriad various patriot efforts around the country, resources to help them get the jobs done that they want to get done. Have the ability through a Patriot Union organization and website to truly affect, for the first time in American history, a government by the people. And this is a thing that I bring up oftentimes in my presentations before political groups and patriot groups. The founders imagined an America where representatives would represent, where elected officials would be the voice of the people. And instead, what we have is a situation, a paradigm that's developed where all of our politicians think that they, they'll tell us whatever they want to get elected, but then they go up there and imagine that they are qualified to make decisions that are, on our behalf. They're not representatives, they're leaders in their own minds. Well, we can change that situation and turn them back into representatives again through the power of social networking. Never before in American history was there an opportunity for the voice aggregated and assembled. The power of assembly was limited through geographic distance or through, other communication issues. And we have, for the first time in human history, the ability for people, thousands of miles apart from each other, to get together and to agree on things and to use their collective voice to affect change. We have the ability for people around the world to hear a voice as it is being spoken. This opportunity that we have as a means to an answer to the efforts of the enemy. We are in a position where we are in a stranglehold by organized leftists who have taken control of virtually all of the institutions in our federal government. We have just witnessed a seditious conspiracy carried out by Strzok and Mueller and Comey and all the rest of them, DNC, Fusion GPS. This is nothing less than a federal criminal offense, felony offense of sedition that has been conducted by people across various agencies in our government, across various branches in our government, and really full conclusion and investigation. What we would have is a constitutional crisis, because what we witnessed is a situation where the balance of power has not done its job in providing the checks and balances to keep an organized group taking control of the government and overthrowing a duly elected president. Fortunately, good always wins, as the good Reverend said, before you turn this over to me. We know how the story ends. The story ends with God the winner, and we, as His body, to stand up and fight in that day. Are working diligently. Next couple, if progress continues as it is, that we'll have the website available for in its full-fledged version for membership, for utilization of the social networking environment, and for us to begin working to pull together the volunteers and needed leadership to begin realizing the full vision of Patriot Union. I can, as you probably can tell, I can speak for hours about this. I've been speaking for years, and it is a thing that I recognize in the population of patriots that I interact with on a continuous basis, that there's a growing understanding of the requirement for us to unite. And I believe, as Greg pointed out, that this is really a matter of providence. We are at a point in our history where it is for those good and faithful and right and righteous men and women all over the world to stand up and to stand together and to become a voice of good and right that is clearly heard to people no matter where they are. And the darkness that the enemy intends to thrust upon us is one that I have witnessed in other countries around the world, and it is a thing that none of us want to experience, and we don't want our children to experience. So the time is now for us to truly become a body of power, a body of light, a body of truth and justice, a body of goodness that is working in the public arena and that is manifesting the ideals of right and righteousness for the whole world to see. And the enemy that we are facing is one that is, as was pointed out many times, is really a stupid one. But we have to be smart, and we have to be ahead of the curve in terms of building a powerful organization that is capable of standing against this organized left, because we, I think, all understand how wealthy, how powerful, how well organized, and how dangerous this enemy is. So I pray sincerely that as we go forward very quickly, the effort that we're all engaged in here will be one that is spread by word of mouth very quickly, that people come to understand that there is a movement that is rising up in the United Constitutional Patriots of this country, and that we will become a union of people who are visible and who are vocal and who are providing hope and solutions in a country that desperately needs them. I want to thank all of the people who've invited me to come here to speak and give this presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone has. It's oftentimes hard without a sounding board to know whether you've covered everything that you need to. But I pray God's blessings for everyone who's involved in this effort, and pray for your support in what we're trying to do.
Well spoken.
All right, well, all right, great. First of all, Michael, I want to thank you for being and speaking to us on this great social network that you're building. And do we have anyone that has any questions for to move on? Okay, again, Michael, thank you for joining us tonight. And you are welcome. In fact, what we'd like to do is somewhere down the line here, you're closer to completed on your work on the social network and all that, we'd like to have you come back and be on our show again and give us a further report on the progress.
Well, Johnny, by virtue of the nature of what I'm doing in trying to build a Patriot Union, I see this as the one more step in building a network. I hope to be engaged with you all in what you're doing going forward. I hope this is the beginning of long friendship and patriotism that somewhere down the road we meet and shake hands and are thankful to each other for all the effort that we're involved in.
Well, we're certainly going to see if we can get that worked out. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we more special guest that we want to bring on this evening, and his name is Matt, and he's going to be discussing the situation that he's been having with. As he wants to talk about Antifa and talk about that particular situation. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring on another one of our here that's done a lot of great work for us. She has proven to be a go-getter, and she's helped to provide us with some of our line guests that we've had on the show. We've had folks like Clyde Bundy and Ryan Bundy, and we're still hopefully somewhere down the line planning on having Jeanette Finicum on with us. But this lady has helped us supply us with a few of these guests that we've had. She's actually helped us supply us with the one we're about to bring on. So we're going to have her introduce him. Her name is Monica, aka Patriot Cowgirl. And Monica, if you would come ahead and introduce Matt to us.
Okay, thank you, Chuck. Our next guest is Matt Marshall. He's Washington state lead for the 3%, and he's had some run-ins with Antifa, which most of us know. And he's going to tell us about those run-ins because they go above and beyond just run-ins. And I will hand it over to Matt and let him tell you about it. Matt, take it.
Thank you, Cowgirl. Well, as some of you know, I'm the leader of the Washington State 3%, and one of the things that we've been working on is becoming more and more politically active. And like we've been discussing tonight, we've been hearing about is there really is a deep state. There really is a undercurrent that's been controlling the political atmosphere, if you will. And what we've been doing is we've been working to change our system the way that our framers of the Constitution initially intended. Doing that by getting into political office at the precinct committee officer level and trying to build with constitutional patriots from the bottom up. We also have had many constitutional candidates that ran here in Washington State primary election. We had Jared Gavin Bono in the 5th district. We had Joseph Brumbles in the 10th district. Some of the state level positions. Oh, we had Joey Gibson for Senate. And that one got a lot of attention. Then we had Alan Acosta that was running for state rep, Jesse Young running for state rep, and many more. I'm sure I'm forgetting some. So I'm sorry to the ones that I forgot to mention there. But with that, we've been trying to see what we can do to change the right way, trying to work within the confines of our system. And it's been going pretty well, actually. We've been actually making some good changes. Washington 3%'s been working pretty well with Patriot Prayer and Joey Gibson. And as soon as we aligned with them and some of the issues they've been having down in Portland, we definitely got the spotlights turned on our organization by Antifa and the far left. So shortly after 4th of July, I was talking to Joey Gibson, and he and I decided that just after the primary elections here in Washington, we wanted to have some sort of a rally to talk about gun bills and specifically bring up the topic of far left violence. So far left violence is something that we have all seen. We saw it yesterday when they did not have a big white nationalist presence like was anticipated, and what happened with Antifa? They turned on police. They started destroying things as usual and rioting, and all the news is really covering is the fact that there were not a whole bunch of people hurt, which if you watch the videos and see what happened, who really cares? They're out of control, and they really are, thugs on the street out there to riot and destroy things and try to impose their will and stifle those of us who believe in free speech and want a chance to talk. So, with us discussing far left violence, we have an initiative 1639 here in Washington, which is a gun grabbers bill trying to ban semi-automatic weapons, create registries, lots of unconstitutional things that we're vehemently opposed to. We decided we wanted to take that as our main topic, but we knew that going to Seattle to talk about initiative 1639, we would be met with far left resistance. So we decided to also go against left-wing violence. So we have dual purpose here. But the fact that we've gone with this rally on, well, first off, our rally is titled Liberty or Death, Rally Against Left-Wing Violence. So we might have some onus there on some inflammation, but we anticipated we were going to get some regardless because we're going to be a conservative group meeting at City Hall Plaza, downtown Seattle, to discuss a gun bill. So we were anticipating, getting some resistance anyway. So it started with us getting some generalized, why are you bringing this hate to our city? And it's progressed into photographs of my family, of my animals, of me. Somehow people have decided to latch onto this race thing and call names, Nazi, threaten to kill myself, kill my family. We get threatened daily with lawsuits because we're going to be coming there to exercise our free speech. We're being accused of being thugs. We're accused of being intimidating, but it's coming from all angles. We're getting it via Facebook messages, phone calls. People are having Facebook setups, profiles set up who are pretending to be us. That, of course, when reported, Facebook won't take down. But just in general, threats of all different kinds. We have, of course, reported these threats and are told that there's nothing wrong and there's nothing we can do about it. And most of them are on dead profiles. So it's fine. We know they're just trying to intimidate us and scare us out of moving forward and speaking on our beliefs. It's pretty clear what the left has been doing with the Alinsky tactics of trying to control the people. And we just have to keep marching forward, pushing our beliefs, pushing the values, trying to explain to everybody that nothing that we do as patriots has anything to do with race, creed, color, gender, religion, preference. It doesn't matter. We believe in freedom. We believe in natural law. We believe in inalienable rights endowed by the Creator with constitutional protections of those rights. The government can't take them. And for some reason, we all know why. It's a huge threat to the people who want to control the entire masses. So, Antifa's been a real big problem for us. Luckily, it sounds like Seattle Police Department's going to do their job. It sounds like they're going to enforce strict behaviors on both sides of our rally that comes up this upcoming Saturday. But it's still something that has quite a few people concerned. We're actually going to have a lower attendance based on the threats that have been coming from Antifa, which we all know is their actual goal is to scare us from showing up. So I guess our message to Antifa is we're coming regardless. There's nothing you can do to stop us.
Oh, well, very good. That's great. Yeah. We're at a time now where if we don't do something has to be done to shut down Antifa, to stop them, because the more take a back step to the more we step backwards, the more they think they've won, and that grows, if you will. So they're not, they don't stop; they keep coming. But I'm glad you guys are doing what you're doing, and over you guys, when you're up, there are others coming up around the country. One in Texas, which we're at that one becoming violent. Uh, yeah, this whole thing with Antifa it's a mess. But as we reported earlier this evening, and I'm sure it probably put a smile on Matt's face. Antifa actually went and stepped in it. They took that one step too far. They threatened the life of the President of the United States and the Vice President of the United States. They threatened to murder. Now they're under full investigation by the FBI and by the Secret Service. And the president appears to be prepared to take steps, National Guard, in that direction in order to try to shut this thing down. So, Matt, God bless you. We God bless the 3% in Washington. We're thankful that you're courageous enough that you're going to go anyway. You're going to stand. And we appreciate you coming here tonight, being with us. And again, in future shows, we would welcome having you back for further reports on how things went.
Absolutely, I'd absolutely love to be back. One thing I do want to mention real quick is that one of the fundamental beliefs that we always try to keep straight is all of us as constitutional patriots believe that everybody has the same rights to free speech and such. And you were talking about Antifa taking that one step too far. I fully support them wanting to come out and protest and speak their mind, but they crossed the lines, as you said. Hiding behind their masks is one thing, but becoming violent and trying to stifle other people's ability to express their free speech through intimidation and threats, that's too much. And just trying to keep it in perspective that what, they have a right to be out there and protest too, but as a civil society, we have certain standards that we expect everybody to follow, and that goes for them and it goes for our own as well. We have bad actors that show up at our own protests and we try to police our own, but that's going to be one of our big focuses coming up this weekend. Is we want to keep everybody under wraps, both on our side of the fence and theirs. And the police will take care of their side, we'll take care of our own. But absolutely, I have no problem with them being there, just either side to become violent.
Exactly. Yeah, we a huge opportunity coming up with this November election. I do believe there's going to be, we're going to see the greatest turnover in this election we've ever seen. But I believe also that the other side knows that that election is their last opportunity and their last hope, and they're going to be done after that. John, do you have something you want to add?
Yeah, I do. I've been sitting listening to the whole show. I work law enforcement, so I wasn't able to be here for everything. What I heard, I loved. And Matt, I got something I want you to be informed of. I'm Johnny. I'm the national commander of the United Constitutional Patriot Group, and I want to welcome you to our radio show. But what I was going to say is, word is they're going to be violent now from here on out. Last night there was a state police officer that was killed in the riots, as well as there was also one of the news media people that was, I guess, beat up pretty bad. Watch your six. If you're assaulted, by all means, please protect yourselves. But don't let your men start it, because that's what they want. The way things are going right now, I've been in this movement a lot of years, and I've seen a lot of things that you've seen. And we may have even run across each other's path at one time or another. I don't know. But I do know this. Antifa now is turned totally violent after what they've done over the last day or so. Now they're going to keep that agenda going. That's what you've got to expect. Don't give them any air at all. I've told all of our men nationwide to stand down unless called on. Well, it's with the United Constitution Patriot people, it's still that. But if you see somebody that's getting beat, whipped, or whatever, whether the police ask you to step in or not, step in and try to stop it from happening. And I want to thank you personally, Matt, for being here. I know exactly who you are. When you started talking, I believe I talked to you about a year ago. And in fact, we had quite a conversation. It was behind a lot of the stuff that was going on the West Coast.
Yep. I remember that, and I appreciate it. And we're ready on our side. We're working with Seattle Police Department, and our number one focus is keeping our own guys under control and making sure they don't get baited into something.
True, and we have your six no matter what. If something happens, I don't know. Well, everybody on here, somebody can get you my phone number. Call me direct, because if you need support, we have people that are just hours away that I can get to you.
Excellent, I appreciate it.
And that's all I need to say. Go ahead, Chuck, take over. This is your show tonight. But I needed to step in because I recognized Matt's name.
I want to say something to Matt before we end the show, okay? I just want to thank you, Matt, for coming on the show at the last minute deal. You did really well, and I want to thank you because I know you're really busy, but I really wanted you to get your message out there, and I wanted you to know that we are standing behind you, and you're definitely in our prayers. So be vigilant and stay safe out there.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Just remember, all you got, and this goes to everybody out there, all of the Patriot groups that are listening that I know is going to be watching, don't let them knock you off your square. But be very vigilant. Use common sense, and don't react off of emotion. That's what'll get you in trouble.
Okay, well, it has been a great show this evening. This turned out to be, despite my fact that we were this leader at the beginning of the program, and I had to step in and take over. That it turned into a pretty good broadcast. We've had some great guests tonight. We want to thank both Michael and Matt for being here and providing us with some great information. And as we close the show this evening, I want to address a little something that we've been before I close this thing in prayer. I want to address a little something that we've been talking about here tonight. We've been talking about Antifa. We've been talking about all this violence going on and how they're beginning to turn violent and all this, that, and the other. You know, we have an incredible opportunity been given to us by the Most High God to restore our nation. On election night in 2016, ladies and gentlemen, was nothing. Because I want you to understand that a lady by the name of Hillary Rodham Clinton, and the only presidential in the history of the United States of America to have ever 100% lock, stock, and barrel an election and lost. Give you a chuckle. But I want you to understand something. And her crew spent over a year and a half and spent billions of dollars and a half rigging, fixing, stealing, had to do to steal that election, including registering dead people to vote on the illegal vote, spent billions of dollars. And there's a lot that we can do, and we're working hard every day to do it. And the president, Q team, Trump team, they're working hard. This nation, that's what the president's all been talking about. Make America great again. And then his theme for 2020 is keep America great. This is what we're striving to do. But what I want you to understand, chaplain with the United Constitutional Patriots, understand is that can also, all this violence, all this trouble, the other side is trying to do, because we didn't expect them to go away quietly. Thing to do, it can all be mitigated in the spirit. There are prayer groups going on nationwide in the spirit, standing against it in prayer. And it can all be mitigated in the spiritual as well. In fact, so I want to close with 2 Chronicles 7:14, which said, if my people, which are called by my name, and pray and turn from their wicked ways, I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Stand on the crux, healing the United States. We stand on the very edge and saving this great country. And the reason for that is of God. He prayed, God heard, and he answered. It's a great program tonight. And I want to thank everybody for being here, all of our listeners, our guests, everybody that has taken part and made this such a great show as it has been. I want to thank you all for being here. And I want to close this program. Jesus, we come before you right now, Lord, for this opportunity that we've had to come together here tonight and to give the Patriot community and the American people information that they need, things that they need to move forward to help your agenda, not just President Trump's agenda, but your agenda for this country move along. Opportunity that we've had, Lord. We thank you, Lord, for the great guests that we've had tonight. We ask you to bless them for what they're doing. Nation. United Constitutional Patriots, and we ask you to bless them for what they're doing. Right now, as we close this program, we ask you, Lord, to continue to bless this great nation, continue to bless our president and our vice president. We ask you, Lord, blood of protection be upon them. We ask you, Lord, that let your angels be encamped around about them, stand and watch over them. We ask you, Lord, for their continued protection. To defeat the deep state and to salvage our great nation and our freedom. Continue with us now, tonight and into the coming days. Continue to guide us, draw us ever closer to one another and ever closer to thee. all in the name by God, the most powerful name in the universe, in the name of Jesus Christ. We ask it all. Amen and amen. Ladies and gentlemen, for being with us all